Welcome everybody to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili, and today I am going to rank the AC/DC catalog studio albums. Now before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video, and if you still haven't, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for updates. Now with that out of the way, okay, let's get this started. AC/DC's studio catalog, and no live albums, just the studio stuff. Keep up. I'm starting off with Who Made Who. Okay, so Who Made Who to me is it is a soundtrack, and it had some previous stuff that AC/DC have put out in different albums. However, there was some new material on here that I felt like, okay, it still constitutes as a studio album, because they added some instrumental tracks which were really cool. DT, Chase the Ace, but it also has the song Who Made Who on there, which was great. I went to this tour, first time I saw them. You Shook Me All Night Long from Back in Black, Sink the Pink from the Fly on the Wall album, Ride On, which is one of my favorite songs from the Bon Scott era, Hell's Bells, Shake Your Foundations, and of course For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. So Who Made Who is number 19. Now, number 18. Now, it's not a full album, but however, there's a lot of, it's an EP, I guess, the Jailbreak 74, going all the way back to Bon Scott era. I love the song Jailbreak, and Baby Please Don't Go, which is really cool. There's only like 5 songs on here, but it's a very nice early incarnation of the band, AC/DC, Jailbreak 74. Okay, now 17, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. This was the follow-up to the Back in Black album. It just seemed like this album did sell a lot, just riding on the back of Back in Black. However, I didn't feel like some of the songs were as strong as the previous album, of course, which was the tribute to Bon Scott. There are some okay songs on here. I Put the Finger on You, Let's Get It Up, COD, Care of the Devil, that's fine, but I do like that Gatefold, but it wasn't a really strong album for me. So We Salute You, For Those About to Rock. Okay, 16, Power Up, their latest album. Of course, there's no Malcolm on here, but we got George back on, there he is, on, what was that, George? One of the Youngs, Steve Young, okay. And it's an okay album. It's, I guess there's that, when people don't think of a rhythm guitar player as someone important, but the way he hits those major chords, Malcolm Young, it does sound like AC/DC, and it kind of just, is missing that element, that fullness of those chords that Malcolm does and delivers. So Power Up is 16. Now we go to Ball Breaker. This is the Rick Rubin production of AC/DC. Hard as a Rock was on here, Cover You and Oral. Great songs. The return of Phil Rudd came here as well. Now, that's the thing about Rick Rubin, is that he always tries to get all nostalgic and tries to take a great album from a band that they did and try to reproduce it in the present time. And AC/DC, yes, they may have a formula to their music, but kind of just gotta go with the vibe of what they're doing now is how I always feel. That when dealing with classic bands with a classic catalog, and Rick Rubin just seems to always just want to just try to remake, reimagine, or whatever from something from the past, and then it kind of doesn't really hold up as well. But Ball Breaker was an okay album, and so there you go. 15. 14. Okay, so this is Black Ice. This is a great album. I did love the the Rock and Roll Train, and the River Plate live material that they put out. He did War Machine and Big Jack on there, because there's some really great songs on here. And so this was coming into the new millennium. We had this album along with Stiff Upper Lip. This is a great album as well. I do love the song Safe in New York City. Is one of my favorite songs from here. This is post 9/11, and so all that kind of talk about paranoia, fear, and everything, and they were still like, hey, it's New York City, AC/DC's here, we're still gonna rock, we're not gonna be in fear, and they put out a very great album that time, Stiff Upper Lip. Okay, this next one is Flick of the Switch. Now this album has been said to be like their worst album. This is the one right after For Those About to Rock, and what their thinking is that they wanted to go back to this rawness that they had with Let There Be Rock, and kind of get rid of the John Mutt Lange highly polished sound and just go back to raw rock and roll. And they did, and they produced this themselves. I like it. I like, the Flick of the Switch was the lead-in single, but they got Nervous Shakedown, Guns for Hire, which is a really cool song, intro, Rising Power. This whole thing rocks. I mean, it's just at first, if you're coming in with the whole those three albums of Highway to Hell, Back in Black, and For Those About to Rock, with that sound that they got popular with, and then listen to this, you may not really like it. But if you listen to like their earlier stuff, their raw sound, like Let There Be Rock, then this may be an album for you. So Flick of the Switch. Okay, so we're going to the first one. Okay, High Voltage. Great classic songs on here. It's A Long Way to the Top. There you have Bon Scott and his bagpipes, rock and roll singer, The Jack, which is a concert favorite, and I love Livewire, one of my favorite songs, and of course TNT. Can't go wrong with this album. Next, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Now this was originally released in 70s in Australia, but this came out in the 80s. Amongst like all the other ones, when Highway to Hell and Back in Black and all that popularity was coming with AC/DC, they put this out, and has pretty much a different track list than the one they had in Australia, and the cover of course is different. This is a pretty interesting cover for AC/DC. Everyone is kind of like shady, from the old lady to like, no one is exempt from being shady, and Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And so that's a really cool cover. They're all in this motel, and this is the one with Ride On, which is one of my favorite songs from them. Big Balls is on here, of course the title track. And so yes, this is a great one. All right, so we're almost there. We got Razor's Edge, Thunderstruck, Money Talks. This was a very successful album. Are You Ready? There was like 3 singles from this album, but I do love Mistress for Christmas. That's a great one. This is a great album. Different drummer again. Chris Slade, I believe, was the drummer. Yes, he is the drummer on here. Bald guy. And sounded different, but that intro, that Thunderstruck song was just like, the intro is iconic now, and when they start doing this one live, it just gets everyone crazy. So Razor's Edge. Okay, so now we are close to the edge here. This is one of my favorite albums. So we're in the top 10 already. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 6. So this album didn't really actually make an impact as far as popularity goes when it came out. They had this long form video where they're playing at this little ballroom bar, and it's abandoned, and they recorded 6 songs, filmed 6 songs. Flyer on the Wall, Shake Your Foundations, great song. Danger, Sink to Pink, another great song. But everything from here, and Simon Wrights was coming into play here, the drummer, and he just brought this big kind of bass kick, bottom kind of sound to AC/DC, and it was very bombastic. And this album was really, to me, it was a great new path for AC/DC. So, Fly on the Wall. Okay, so number 5 here is Blow Up Your Video. This is an album that I feel that when it came out, because I saw them, of course, on the Who Made Who tour, then I saw them on this one, because after I saw them on Who Made Who, I was just like, okay, this band can do no wrong, and I got this, of course, on the first day. And every song on here is Heat Seeker, That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll, great classic AC/DC. But then you had stuff like Mean Streak, and Some Sin for Nothing is awesome. So I mean, this is to me is a great album. People would go, oh, okay, I wouldn't think that would be in like your top 10, but it is for mine. Okay, and of course we're going down to the wire here, and we got that was number 5. So this is number 4, Power Age. Okay, so Rock and Roll Damnation, Sin City, Down Payment Blues, Riff Raff. This album is just like AC/DC when they're just really at the before the whole Highway to Hell Mutt Lange thing. This is them just making great songs, and they're not as lengthy as the Let There Be Rock album. However, but they're really putting a lot more blues in this album, and pretty much keeping up to that blues element with hard rock, and then that will change on the next album, of course. But Power Age is still a great one. Okay, so now we're down to the Holy Trinity, and so number 3 is Back in Black. First one with Brian Johnson, and the song track list here from beginning to end, perfect album. So this stuff was pretty much written while Bond was alive. Who would have thought that that would sound? But Hell's Bells, Back in Black, all these classic songs. You Shook Me All Night Long, of course. Have a Drink on Me, which is my favorite. Giving the Dog a Bone is great. What Do You Do for Money, Honey? AC/DC, Back in Black, number 3. Okay, so number 2, Highway to Hell. Okay, is the first album I really kind of heard from beginning to end. I mean, I've heard them on the radio with TNT and all those other cool songs, but my brother had this album, and we used to just play it all the way through, and it was very polished, and it was very, this is the album that, for everybody else to come in and join the party. Like, okay, we're going to make something a little bit more accessible, because AC/DC is kind of rough around the edges, but John Mutt Lange polished it up and made AC/DC acquirable and listenable for everybody else. And then you could pretty much go back and listen to the rest of their catalog prior to this album. But this was a great invitation to the band for everybody else who just didn't think of AC/DC as a band with melody or something very accessible. And so great songs: Highway to Hell, of course, Girls Got Rhythm, Walk All Over You, Touch Too Much, Shot Down in Flames, and Night Prowler, which was this song that was very controversial due to the Richard Ramirez murders, and this was his favorite song, and he was known as the Night Stalker. But there you go, Highway to Hell, which leads you to the number 1, of course. This is Let There Be Rock. This is only a great rock album, but there's, to me, what it sounds like, everything, just the raw sounding feedback of just like them just turning on the amps and just, just bashing it on here. Would go down Dog Eat Dog, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Whole Lot of Rosie, Problem Child, Overdose, every song on here, and of course, Let There Be Rock, their classic, which they still play. There was a song that they never got out of their set list. It was a mainstay. So that's my number one, and the cover is very iconic as well. I mean, it says it all. Rock band, Let There Be Rock. This is the Bon Scotts as far as lyrically and musically, of course, is like their finest moment right here. This is what rock and roll is about. This is the um, it personifies rock and roll right there. Let There Be Rock. So that is my number one. What are your thoughts on this? Leave me a comment below. Are you like, what the hell? Let's blow up your video doing a top 10 or flick or fly on the wall. It's my top 10. I'm sure you guys have a different one. So leave me your top 10 or your 19 of these albums, and how would you rate them. And with that, I'll shut up and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.